This might just be the most disappointing news I've heard all year, and the RTX 3080 Super, well, it's a thing. Let's talk about it. So you might want to sit down and pucker up that chocolate starfish, because I'm about to hit you guys with a big piece of very disappointing news. Now, what exactly am I talking about? Well, not too long ago, I actually made a video talking about how a Nintendo Switch Pro could be coming out in the future, and it might have like DLSS, a much faster processor, a much faster GPU, more RAM, more storage, just basically everything you would ever want. And well, the good news is, Nintendo pretty much did unveil what seems to be a Switch Pro, but the bad news is it's really disappointing, and in fact it's so disappointing that this might just be the most disappointing piece of news that I have heard all year. Now don't get me wrong, there are a few things that I do like about this new Nintendo Switch Pro. They're calling it the Nintendo Switch OLED, so it's not the Switch Pro, though it's kind of in essence is that. But so here's the things that I do like about it. It's got an OLED screen, that's awesome. The screen is bigger, it's got better speakers, it's got a better stand, and so all those things are great to hear. And you know what, it wouldn't even be too bad if it was coming out like tomorrow. Like you could buy it tomorrow and it was actually cheaper than the original Switch model. But the bad news is, well, it's not coming out until October 8th, and even worse, it's going to be $350. So yes, you do get a little bit of niceties, but it's not coming out for a little while here, and on top of that, the price I think is just way too high. And to make matters even worse, well, it's actually not going to have any upgraded CPU or GPU or even RAM whatsoever. Now, you are going to get double the amount of storage, going from 32 gigabytes to 64 gigabytes, but that's still pretty anemic in my opinion. So that's, while that's a good thing to hear, it's still a little bit disappointing. But yeah, the really disappointing thing for me, guys, is that it's not going to have that faster CPU, it's not going to have a faster GPU, it's not going to output 4K, at least from what I've read, which is very disappointing. And on top of that, it's also not going to support DLSS. So yeah, you're just looking at here another generic Nintendo Switch, but just going to have a little bit better screen, better speakers, double storage, as well as a better kickstand. So for those of you out there who are looking to buy a Nintendo Switch sometime in the future, this is probably going to be a better option for you, as I think getting that bigger 7-inch screen versus the 6.2-inch screen that we currently have in the regular Nintendo Switch is going to be a decent upgrade, and OLED is just a much better technology, and in fact, it may actually lead to a better battery life, so that's good to see. But yeah, overall, this is super disappointing. I was really hoping for them to unveil like a Switch 2 or something like that. And to make it even more disappointing, the fact that it's not coming out for a little bit here, it leads me to believe that we're still a ways out from something like a Nintendo Switch 2 if they're already going to be refreshing the Nintendo Switch this late in the game. So yeah, I'm really disappointed by this. Hopefully in the next year or two, we will start to hear about some sort of new Switch technology coming out from Nintendo, because right now, honestly, guys, I do own a Nintendo Switch, and it's starting to age not so well. It's definitely going to get to that point where not many third-party games are going to be able to make their way onto the Switch, as it's just going to be too anemic to run them. But with that bad news out of the way, now let's go ahead and talk about something that's a little bit more exciting, the RTX 3080 Super. Now, for all of you who are very excited about this and might be like, oh yes, we're getting a 16 gigabyte RTX 3080 Super tomorrow, it's coming, baby, yes! Well, that's probably not going to be the case. It looks like it's going to be coming out, at least according to the Twitter leaker Greymon55, which was shared in a Video Cards article. Looks like it's going to be coming out early 2022, and it sounds like so far, at least, we're just talking about a mobile version of the GPU. So yes, it's going to be 16 gigabytes, but yeah, we're talking about mobile. It looks like it might be like the GA103 chip, which means it's somewhere between the GA104 chip used on the 3070 desktop and the GA102 chip used on the 3080 desktop. So it should be somewhere between there. We're probably talking about a bump in the CUDA core count, maybe possibly higher clock speeds, though on mobile that's probably not going to be the case, at least not to a significant extent. Now, is this actually going to come to the desktop? Are we going to get a 3070 Super and 3080 Super? That's something that I don't know for sure at this point. I think that if AMD brings out another card or starts reducing their prices, maybe that could happen, but currently I have no information on that so far. So if you're looking forward to a 3080 Super with 16 gigabytes of VRAM and like 9,000 CUDA cores, it looks like, at least so far, that's not in the plans, but that's not to say it won't happen. And just in case you're a little bit skeptical as to whether whether or not this is going to actually happen. Well, when video cards went ahead and shared this over on Twitter, the prominent Twitter leaker Kopite7Kimi did actually respond. He said, I can confirm that that's true. And he also went ahead and linked to a previous tweet that he made talking about potential replacements for the 3080 model, as well as the like MX versions of GPUs available in the current mobile Nvidia laptop. So yeah, I think that with video cards sharing this, as well as Kopite7Kimi saying that he believes it's true, well, yeah, this probably is going to be true, or at least right now it looks like that is the plan. It does seem like some of these guys have some really good insiders over at Nvidia, so I would expect early 2022 you are going to be seeing a super refresh, at least on the mobile side, and maybe you might even see it come to the desktop, especially if supply continues to improve as the year goes on. As you know, these 3070 Ti coming in at $600 isn't really going to make a whole lot of sense in early 2022 if you can very easily buy like a 6800 for below its MSRP. It's going to make the 3070 Ti look a little bit silly, so at that point maybe Nvidia will actually refresh with these super models, but hey, that's something we don't know for sure right now. But you know, either way, it's exciting to see some new GPU models coming out from Nvidia, and I do hope they come out on desktop at a cheaper price. But hey, that's just what I think. Do you think that the RTX 3080 Super is going to actually show up on the desktop, or do you think that it's going to come to only the mobile side? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and of course, I'll see you guys in the next video. If you made it to the end of the video, be sure to drop a like. Every time you do so, AMD and Nvidia get more stock. Also, if you want to see more, click here. You won't be disappointed.